with your abundant favor, as your servants, whom you've been pleased to call to the performance of important trusts in this republic, let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interest you have committed to our charge. Amen. Good morning, honorable members, and welcome to today's sitting. Next order.
Order number 1, administration of oath.
Next order.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Good morning, honorable members. I have the following communications to make. A, flagging off for the CASA Games. Honorable members, the County Assembly Sports Association, CASA, you recall that I did communicate that the 4th edition of CASA Games will be held in Nakuru County from 19th to 27th August 2023. In addition, I requested that you avail yourselves for training sessions for Mondays to Thursdays, starting from 3:30 p.m. I hereby invite you, members, to flagging off exercise of the participants to the CASA Games, which will take place tomorrow, 9th August 2023, after the morning's plenary at the parking lot tomorrow. We have another communication. We have visitors in the public gallery. Honorable members, I wish to acknowledge the following visitors in the public gallery. A, teachers and students of St. Bakita Chua Secondary School from Katangi Ward, represented here in the assembly by Honorable Felix Ngui. B, teachers and pupils of Masui Educational Center from Tala Ward, represented here in the assembly by Honorable Jackson Daka. The learners have visited the assembly on a learning exercise. I take this opportunity to welcome the teachers and the learners of the 2 schools in the assembly. The honorable members of the 2 wards will get an opportunity to welcome them when they will be contributing to the business of the day. Thank you, honorable members. But before I proceed to the next order, I just want to take this opportunity to officially welcome you, teachers from those 2 schools and pupils and students, to the chambers. This is the chambers for the Assembly of Machakos, and we know you are here on learning exercise, and we would like you to be part of this, participate today, be part of this sitting today, and learn a lot. So you are hereby here welcome and feel at home. And make sure that before you leave here, you have learned one or two things. We'll have more discussions later. Thank you. Next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Next order.
Order number 4, petitions.
Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
May I invite Honorable Nicholas Nzioka to come forward and lay several papers.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I wish to lay the following papers on the table of the Assembly today, Tuesday, 8th August 2023. 1. Kathiani Level 4 Hospital Quarterly Report and Financial Statement for the period ended June 2023. 2. Mutitoni Level 4 Hospital Quarterly Report and Financial Statement for the period ended June 2023. 3. Ndidhini Level 4 Hospital Quarterly Report and Financial Statements for the period ended June 2023. 4. The River Level 4 Hospital Quarterly Report and Financial Statements for the period ended June 2023. And 5. Kalama Level 4 Hospital Quarterly Report and Financial Statements for the period ended June 2023. 6. Mwala Level 4 Hospital Quarterly Report and Financial Statements for the period ended June 2023. 7. Kangundo Level 4 Hospital Quarterly Report and Financial Statements for the period ended June 2023. And number 8, Machakos Level 5 Hospital Quarterly Report and Financial Statements for the period ended June 2023. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The above papers are committed to the Health and Emergency Services Committee. Thank you. May I? Next order.
Order number 6, notice of motion.
Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
May I invite Honorable Nicholas Nzioka and Honorable Frederick Kitetu in that order to make statements.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, once again. Honorable Speaker, the House Business Committee met on Monday, 7th August 2023, to prioritize business for the House as forwarded by committees and honorable members pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 151, Suborder 6D. The committee balloted business as follows. Number 1, Tuesday morning, 8th August 2023 at 10 a.m. A, statement response on the status of tree cover and climate adaptation in the county by the Honorable Frederick Kitetu. B, report of the Auditor General on Machakos County Assembly Car Loan Scheme Fund for the year ended 30th June 2019 by the Honorable Philip Ndolo. Tuesday afternoon, 8th August 2023 at 2:30 p.m. A, statement on conservation of Kidhatani, Ngoline, and Kanzokea Forest in Kangundo Central Ward by the Honorable Dixon Maundu. B, motion on tree planting by the Honorable Catherine Che. Wednesday morning, 9th August 2023 at 10 a.m. A, report of Auditor General on Mavoko Water and Sewerage Company for the year ended 30th June 2020 by the Honorable Philip Ndolo. And B, adjournment of the House and alteration of the calendar by the Honorable Nicholas Nzioka. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. There's some noise coming from somewhere, Sanjay Terms. Make sure it doesn't happen. Honorable Kitetu, proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Frederick Itatumweya is my name, MCA Kombe Ward, and also the chairperson on Environment Natural Resources Committee. On statement response on status of tree cover and climate adaptation in the county. Honorable Speaker, on 16 December 2022, a statement was sought by Honorable Mercy Jagi on the following. 1. What measures are the county government taken to increase tree cover within the county? 2. What structured measures have been initiated to provide for climate adaptation in the county? Honorable Speaker, the sought statement was conveyed to the Department of Water, Irrigation, Environment, and Climate Change by a letter that, and the department responded on aforementioned statement through a letter dated 29 May 2023 as follows. The Machakos County forest cover currently stands at 2.9%, which is quite low compared to the national forest cover target of 10%. The tree cover is 6.3, which is comparable to the current national cover of 8.0%. Machakos County has a total land surface of 2516.19 acres covered by forest. The remaining county land is largely semi-arid but suitable for tree growing. Most of deforestation is due to encroachment, illegal logging, grazing, and forest fires, and also from effects of climate change, such as drought and poor weather patterns. On the private farm, deforestation is major contributed by uncontrolled logging and increased land demand for settlement as a result of rise in population and increased demand on firewood. To improve both forestry, tree cover, Machakos County government has planned for the following measures. 1, through Department of Environment and Natural Resources, a budget of 4 million has been set aside for tree planting in the year 2023-2024. 2, to conduct awareness creation through institution and public barazas. 3, the adoption forest conservation, where indigenous and drought-resistant trees will be grown as opposed to plantation forestry, which relies on exotic trees but which are less drought-resistant and unable to overcome harsh weather conditions due to climate change. 4, partner with institutions such as schools, colleges, churches, hospitals, etc., with a space, reliable water for tree growing. 5, partner with manufacturers and industries to undertake tree planting as part of CSR. Number 6, support existing tree nurseries through capacity building and with the provision of water tanks to increase seedling production. 7, to sink additional borehole to our forest land to aid in tree growing. 8, encourage agroforestry to improve tree cover on farmland. 9, capacity building on access to clean cook stoves for improved efficiency and reduced emission and reduced firewood consumption. 10, capacity capacity build on development on woodlots for supply of firewood and charcoal. 11, to improve surveillance for the forestry land by scaling up the number of forest guards. 12, capacity building and empowerment of community forestry association, that is CFA. 13, improve access to forestry land to ensure quick response on forest fires. Number 14, to develop on regulation on tree cutting and harvesting of public and private farms. Number 15, embark on rehabilitation of fragile ecosystem through tree planting, construction of line of gabions. 16, to survey and demarcate all the forest land in order to curb encroachment. 17, undertake fencing on the forestry land as a long-term and a permanent solution to illegal logging and grazing. 18, development of county tree planting policy, acts, and legislation. Lastly, in Ireland, we urge our government to adopt on the forest tree planting technology. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Before I call upon Honorable Mercy to inform the House whether she is satisfied with the response, I would invite members to make comments. This being a period where we are experiencing climate change, this is an area we really need to put a lot of emphasis on. So I invite members. Honorable Ndawa.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My name is Judas Ndawa, representing the great people of Matu. If you allow me, Madam Speaker, I will start by welcoming the students before who are present today here from the two schools, one from Tala and the other one from Katangi. Honorable Speaker, Katangi is in the other sub-county where I come from. So I can say the school is from my area. And the other school from Tala, I have a lot of interest in the Matungulu sub-county, and for that matter, Tala ward. So they are
But
also...
disclose
Yes,
the interest.
Yes, I have a lot
Honorable
of interest in that area because I have properties there. And I have many relatives in that area. Honorable Speaker, I just want to welcome them and tell them that I can see future legislators seated in that gallery. I can see a speaker on that in that gallery. I can see a clerk, I can see a governor, I can see an MCA, and I can see even engineers and other officers in other faculties. So welcome. Honorable Speaker, coming to the matter before the House, I want to start by congratulating my dear sister here, Honorable Mercy Njagi, for coming up with this statement. In fact, I just want to applaud the proteges. If I can explain the word protege. Protege is somebody who is new in something. The members who are elected for the first time, Honorable Speaker, I want to say, echo to them, because they are doing a commendable job. We can see them doing what they are supposed to do. The opposite of a protege is mentor. We have mentored you, and now you are no longer proteges. You have now been promoted to mentors. You are doing a good job. Honorable Speaker, the response is quite okay, but I have some reservations on the issue. Honorable Speaker, issue number one is time frame. Honorable Speaker, the statement was sought on, in December last year, and the response was brought before the committee on 29th May this year. And today is when we are getting the report. If you calculate, those are 9 months. Honorable Speaker, if we take long time, the meaning of the statement can be overtaken by events. When Madam Jage was seeking this statement, the rains were on. That is October, December rains were on. And if we received the response during that time, we would have done something. Again, the other bit that I've seen, Honorable Speaker, from the response, the person responding is telling us that he or she has set about 4 million for tree planting. And if you look at the time, he's saying he has set aside 4 million. The letter is dated 25th May. The budget was approved when? 20th June. So at the time of writing that letter, the officer was not sure whether the budget will be approved as requested. So it is good when we are getting response, we get the true position. Again, Honorable Speaker, the departments are taking long to respond to these statements sought by honorable members. And I'm requesting when the office of the clerk is writing for response, if they are writing to the chief officer in charge of that department, I think they should also copy the county secretary, so that if the CEO delays, he or she can be discussed at the cabinet level. And that is now how we can assist our governor to ensure that work is done within the stipulated time and no delays in the offices. Maybe also to add on what I'm saying, Honorable Speaker, there are what we call quarter reports that are supposed to be brought here. Honorable Speaker, the law is very clear. The clerk or the house is not supposed to write requesting for those quarter reports. It is mandatory. It is a constitutional requirement. Quarter reports must be submitted. I've noted that letters emanate from this house or from this assembly to the departments requesting for those quarter reports to be submitted. That is not how things are supposed to be done. So, Honorable Speaker, wise men say a change needed in a grandson has to begin with the grandfather, grandmother coming downwards. If us, as the custodian of the laws of this county, we cannot correct this, it means other people will be reluctant. So us, as an assembly, we also need to ensure we do things as they are stipulated or as they are envisaged in our constitution. Otherwise, Honorable Speaker, I agree with the report and the request. I've seen 4 million for fencing, only for tree planting, and I've seen bullet number, was it number 15, saying that they are going to fence, but they are not clear when the fencing will be done because we not set budget for that. So maybe after this financial year, the other financial year, I urge them to request for funds to do fencing. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. And before I even invite the rest of the members, I want to comment on the issue of delays when we seek statements or when we seek information from the relevant departments. We have laid down procedures. When we seek for statements and they are delaying, we have remedy, don't we? We have remedy. We know what to do because that is the work of this house, to oversight. And that is the way we oversight. If we seek statements, which we want to clarify information, and we want to get response of different issues, and they are not forthcoming, we have laid down procedures on how to get that information within the right time. So let's not just complain, let's do the work that we came to do here. Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Felix Ngui, Katangi Ward 001.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. for this opportunity. My name is Felix Ngoi, the member representing the great people of Katangi Ward. Madam Speaker, if you allow me, I will start by appreciating you for giving me an opportunity to invite my school, which is on the gallery. In fact, this is my closest neighboring school. When I'm at home, I can actually hear them when they are being taught in class. So I'm proud for them, and I want to take this opportunity to welcome them to Machakos County Assembly, and hope that they are going to learn about assemblies, county governments being one of the key issues in our constitution. Secondly, Madam Speaker, I want also to appreciate your office together with the management because of the efforts that you are making to make sure that this house goes paperless. In fact, today I'm not seeing so many papers on the table, and thank you for that efforts. Then now coming to the statement, I want also to appreciate Mheshimiwa Masijagi for seeking this statement during these high times when climate change is a permanent issue within our country and within our nation. I will be dealing with only 2 or 3 issues. And one, I was privileged to be the first member of County Assembly for Machakos, 2013-2017. And tree planting has been an issue within our county. In fact, during that time, we passed so many budgets here with a lot of money for tree planting. And if you go around today, you might ask yourself where these trees have been planted for the last 10 years. So to the chairman on environment and climate change, it is a challenge to you that now that the county government of Machakos through the Department of Water is saying that they have set aside 4 million shillings, which to me seems to be very little for the whole county. But again, it's very important that the Committee on Climate Change and Water can actually do its work to oversight and make sure that these 4 million that has been set aside for tree planting, actually these trees are planted on ground. I think that is very important. Secondly, it is important to note that when we talk about tree planting, we must also talk about water. I have heard through the response that the chair give you a response that the government, through the Ministry of Water, is going to partner with institutions like schools and churches. First of all, you must ask yourself, if you partner with a school, does the school have water? For example, if you partner with the Chua Secondary School, which is on Ngarali today, there is no water in the school. So giving them trees to plant, that means it will be a wastage because they will dry up the next 3 months. So that's a critical issue that ought to be looked into as we discuss on tree planting. Then lastly, I have also had on the statement that the government is planning to do balls in the forests. And my suggestion, my opinion will be different, because if you look at the underground water and the reports, underground water is slowly going to dry up. So we want to encourage the government to consider doing other dams. For example, if you go to Katangi, there was a famous dam done during the colonial times called Mekilingi Dam. There was also another one called Kakuyuni Dam in Katangi location. These dams used to serve the whole of Katangi ward those times. As we talk today, they are dry, they have no water. And we used to have tree planting nurseries on those other dams. So my suggestion is that the government considers doing more other dams, because it's the only way we can have sustainable water for our people. So Madam Speaker, with those few remarks, thank you so much. And I want to hope that the department is going to do what is needed to make sure that we overcome the challenges of climate change within our county. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Mary Kituko, then after which, Honorable Helen Deti.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for catching my hand. My name is Mary Kituko, elected to this honorable house by the great UDA party. I would like to applaud Honorable Njagi for coming up with such a huge statement for our country. for our country and for our county in seeking to replenish our ecosystem. I have gone through the measures that the county executive has come up as a plan to salvage the same, and it is a good measure. However, I do have a recommendation or a question to put across. Each and every time we, as honorable members, are invited to any function, we tend to plant trees, right? But we never take care of them ourselves. Maybe we'll go back to the same event after 3 years, which we will ask, where did our tree go? We didn't find out if there was any irrigation system to salvage the same. We keep on planting many trees, but we don't take care of them. Like yesterday, we had gone for the games at the stadium with Honorable Lloyd, and during our walk, we noticed that Her Excellency had planted so many trees. Some were dry and some had been cut off, which brought my question today. How about we each adopt a tree that has been pre-planted by any other person? We walk along and see them, but we never have anyone or any committee to take care of them. So I would urge the committee, the environmental committee, which I'm part of, to maybe come up with a motion on the same, on how we can adopt a tree. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Mary, and I think you can be the mover of that motion going forward. Thank you. Honorable Ndeti, proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I stand here to also congratulate Madam Jackie. I think she's in line with the thinking of everybody in the entire world, not just Kenya or not just Machakos County, because climate change is affecting the whole world. But I wanted to comment on the tree planting. I think there is need for both the national government and the county government to come up with a policy on tree planting, because we just tend to talk about tree planting, and what Mheshimiwa Mary Ndenya said, planting trees is one thing, but nurturing that tree to grow is another thing. Secondly, last assembly, I was in the Environment Committee, and we took a benchmarking, we went for a benchmarking exercise in Malaysia, and we learned things that we came back in the same house, wrote a report, but it seems like these reports are written, but never taken care of, or never implemented. In Malaysia, we learned that their place reigns throughout, because their policy is that you can never bring a foreign species of a tree in their country. They are the trees that have always grown in their country that do better. But if you look at our country, we have brought even blue gum trees that are, you know, are depleting the water in our soils. So we need to come up with a policy that is going to ensure that whatever trees we plant are trees that are original in our country and that will be able to sustain or to grow even in such harsh climate conditions. Secondly, I think as a county, we need to also come up with a very clear and policy on water. We cannot just be talking about this year, you know, this month of June, July, August, we have a very cloudy atmosphere. So we could have been, you know, tapping water from the clouds that can be stored for future use. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Members, it is our duty, once we go benchmarking and come back with a report, to ensure that it's actually implemented, because that is our work. That's still oversight. Thank you. Honorable Mwaki.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My name is Mwokiwa Musela from Didini, or representing Didini Ward. I wanted to commend the statement seeker on the forest cover in Machakos. I have seen also the recommendations from the the their forestry department, what they are telling us they are going to do, setting aside of 4 million shillings to cover, to mitigate afforestation in the county. As my earlier Honorable Ndawa said, the amount is a bit on the lower side. If they could think of bigger figures to take care of that. Again, Honorable Felix also has mentioned about the depleting water, underground water, which I totally agree with. Why we are finding our county, or even the world over, having this problem of forestation is because we don't have groundwater. Instead of retaining the rainwater, we are going to deplete the groundwater. And once we don't have groundwater, then the trees, the very trees that we had planted, they are going to dry. If we can think of other sources of water as the water ponds, the dams, and the like, we would be doing a lot better. Again, they have talked about partnering with the institutions to get more tree planting. But I say, charity begins at home. If you look at our county, Machakos, the inhabitants of county of Machakos, we are very many. And almost everybody has at least an acre of land. If we started planting trees ourselves before we went to the institutions, because when I'm taking care of my own tree, maybe I would be more responsive to it than when it is institutionalized. So I would think the Committee on Afforestation or Forestry or Environment, if they can think of ways of disseminating the information to the individuals inhabitants of Machakos County, they find ways of encouraging us, incentives. First of all, give us that water, for example, then tell me plant a tree. Because I have water, I'm going to plant one. In my family, we are going to plant every other year. We'll be planting, and as such, we'll be increasing the ground cover of trees. If you go to Masinga, where I come from, those who we are along, all of us, I think, all the wards of Masinga, we touch the River Tana. We have that rapport with TRDA and Kengen when, they give us the trees and we start planting in our own land. But we don't have the water. Or the people are given the trees, but they don't have the water. So what I'm trying to say is, even before we thought of the trees, can we also think of the water first? Because without the water, then the trees will dry. And that one has been attested by Honorable Mary, what she found at the center of Machakos. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Very important points there. Honorable Mulinge. Kimakimwen 001.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. First, I would like to thank Madam Jackie, Honorable Jackie, for coming with this good statement. At this moment, we are addressing the issues of climate change. Madam Speaker, I need to urge the county government through the concerned department to take this matter seriously. Because at the moment, in our world, we are talking about climate change. And everyone knows that because of deforestation, the effects of climate change, they are emanating from people cutting trees without planting trees. Madam Speaker, the afforestation has got very many advantages. For instance, like regulating temperatures, acting as stores of dangerous gases like carbon that destroys our ozone layer. Again, Madam Speaker, the report the committee has given us, seems to lack at the interest of protecting the forestation. Because if you look on the budget, they have allocated of 4 million. If you divide by 40 wards, it is equivalent to 100,000 shillings. 100,000 shillings. If that 100,000 shillings is going to address the problem in my ward, that is Kimakimo Muvoti ward, with the 7 sublocation, means that every sublocation is going to get 14,000. With the 14,000, there is nothing.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Mulinge. Very important there. Honorable Mutie, then Honorable Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me time to contribute. I must also identify myself with the need to check the effects of climate change. Of concern to me in the response was question number 2. Question number 2 was about climate adaptation in the county. The department seems to have emphasized on tree planting, neglecting that part of adaptation in terms of what measures the department intends to take to cushion the people against the effects of climate change as at now. When we have said that we will plant more trees, by the time we get the results from the trees that have been planted, our people will still be suffering. The department did not provide stopgap measures to address those effects as we wait for those trees to grow. Also, the statement, the response seems to give a general approach in terms of planting of trees, because as my colleague has alluded, not every tree is favorable, is good for our areas. For instance, I come from the hilly areas, and one challenge that we are facing now is the menace of the eucalyptus, the blue gum tree. What it does, it lowers the water table. So now you realize that as we have more trees, we must be choosy on which type of trees. The department seems not to have attended to that concern and to create awareness on the types of trees which will not affect the environment. One thing which is also not out in the response is how to preserve our rivers. As we have now, we have effluents into the rivers, sewerage, of course, which has affected most of our rivers, and this, of course, goes a long way in affecting climate. So the other thing that we might need to get clarification on is the level of synergizing between the national government and the county government, knowing that we have some forests under the national government and other forests are under the county government. We might need to understand the level of collaboration between the local government and the national government in regards to preserving the forests. Finally, I need to congratulate my colleague for raising this important statement. I support the initiative. If the department would act on what they have stated, and most importantly, to put deed into word so that we will not just have a statement that is good for the reading and action doesn't follow. We will need a concerted efforts between all the players. I would also urge the department to see how it can form a collaboration between stakeholders, including the assembly. The elected members, the members who represent different groups in the assembly, we all know that every sector is affected by climate change. Our women are affected because they have to fetch water from a far distance. Our farmers are affected. Our children are affected also. So if we could have a collaborated approach, I believe we will tackle the challenge. And once again, congratulations, my colleague Mercy Jagi, for raising such an important statement. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mutie. Hope the committee concerned is actually taking note of those concerns that have not been addressed in the report, so that we can be able to get them. They're important. Honorable Leader of Majority.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. First of all, I want to congratulate your leadership and the Assembly for leading by example, even though we will need some training on the use of these machines. This is just trying to mainstream and going paperless. If all the institutions of this country can go paperless in all that they print, would have significant decrease in tree destruction. So I want to congratulate you for that, and also urge you going forward in our upcoming building, the new assembly. I would urge that we mainstream a lot of climate actions. Like we could choose to use solar power instead of the regular power.
Very important.
We could also, ensure that we have the water from the roof, all of it being put in proper use rather than going just on the street.
Sure.
And that's part of climate change mainstreaming. So thank you for leading us the right way. Number two, I always find the term tree planting too defeatist, because we are all, even at a personal level, trying to plant trees. Now we are very reactive to rain. When it rains, I see people traveling with their trucks and pickups with a lot of trees. I call it defeatist because we do not think, what about when the rain stops? What happens with the trees that we have planted in hundreds or in thousands? My idea of tree planting is, first of all, to look at how many can you sustain up to a certain level where they don't need rain. What I do is I don't plant so many trees. I will not plant 100 trees. I will not plant 200 trees. I'll plant 20 or 30. They will be taken by the rain to a certain level. When the rain is out, I'll be able to make them survive. And within a year, I can tell you, Madam Speaker, the trees are able to survive the Lord. So tree planting itself is not the solution. I would urge that we look at how many will survive after, the strategies that we put into place. Number two, I allude to the fact, to what Mheshimiwa Vincent has said, the whole issue of, the whole idea of planting a tree or doing reforestation is to derive some value. So what value are we telling our people are going to get by planting trees? A long time ago, people used to be given forest land where they could also do cultivation. I don't remember what was the name of that program. The Shamba system, where the people would be encouraged to till in the forest, but also plant a lot of trees, take it to a certain level, leave that piece of land, you get transferred to another piece of land that is there in the forest, because normally forest land is very, very fertile. So you're deriving food from the forest as well as afforestation. So until we acknowledge that a tree on itself, you cannot wait for 3 years to get the value of the tree, you might die. So we need in between planting and when you get the value, you need to derive something else in between. So one of the easiest is to plant trees that have a very short span, like fruit trees. A pawpaw will take 2 seasons or 3 seasons to get you very quick value. So as you plant a eucalyptus, you could also add some pawpaws in between so that you derive quick value. Lastly, I would urge all of us to take personal initiative. Madam Speaker, I was in your office 2 weeks ago reporting to you that through our foundation, a very popular foundation called Wangondi Foundation, we have partnered with a group of women. They call themselves One Love Women Group, and this I call them wonderful women. These are women who from time to time they assist, and I stop there because of the children who are here. I have partnered with some wonderful women from the streets of Machakos. They have formed a group, and through the initiative with the county government, I have requested the Department of Water and the governor, and thankfully they have agreed to let us use Kaumbudo Dam. So we have established a tree nursery. Currently we have seed beds that are holding at least 100,000 seedlings that are going soon to be transplanted. And then these women wanaweza funga duka ya usiku sako, wafungue mchana sako.
Point of order, Honorable Speaker. Point of order. Point of order, Honorable Speaker.
Madam
Order.
Point of order.
You may have a seat. Point of order taken.
Honorable Speaker, I just request you to make a determination whether the honorable member is in order to mix languages. Honorable Speaker, our standing orders are very clear. If you start in English, you conclude in English. You don't have to mix. So make a
Or
determination
better
whether it's in
still,
order.
translate. Or better still, translate. What? It's a noun. So, we have a technical problem. I think it's now working. Proceed, Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I do not think it was a point of order. Maybe it was a point of information, but a name will never change. My name is Nicholas Kitavinzioka. That is the name I was given by my mother. I don't know who has authority to change that. So that particular group called their shop Usiku Sako. This house do not have any authority to change the name of that, the group's name, the group's shop. And they have decided on their own, through this initiative, they are going to close the Usiku Sako shop and open Mchana Sako shop. And so we do not want to interfere in their naming rights. It is within the law.
If it is a name, it's okay. Proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yeah. Thank you.
So I think the most important thing with this initiative is that apart from tree planting and mainstreaming climate change action, it is also going to change livelihoods of these women. So I also want to finally to thank Mheshimiwa Masinjagi. This is the global discussion that is going on everywhere. Tree planting, climate change. So if we are doing this, natuko online, ata pengine we could we could be the first assembly doing this.
Point of information, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I do not need any more information. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much for making sure that you have improved lives and that you have made that particular move to make sure that you improve other people's lives. Making a difference in one's life is important. Honorable Dawn.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My name is Paul Wambua. They call me Don sometimes, and I represent the people of Kibaoni Ward. Madam Speaker, let me start by thanking our colleague, Mheshimiwa Mercy Njagi, for finding it appropriate to bring such a topic to be discussed in this assembly. Madam Speaker, inasmuch as we want to promote the planting of trees and enhancing our environment, as a house we need a regulation to regulate the conservation of environment in totality, starting with planting trees, their maintenance, conserving our rivers, and all that. And I would request the Committee on Environment to take charge and lead us into coming up with this regulation. Secondly, as Mheshimiwa Wangondi is saying, planting of trees is good, but the other day my father was telling me we should not be living like animals who depend on the environment for survival. If it doesn't rain, they die. If it rains, they survive. If they are caught by the lion, they die. So we need to start living as people who have brains and start using our resources to improve our lives. For instance, Madam Speaker, almost most of the wards in this county have rivers, big rivers that either touch the wards or traverse through the wards. Notably, like Kibaoni, we have Ad River, which passes on one side, and Thwake River, though it's seasonal, but still provides water throughout the dry season to our people. If we can use the resources that we have in the form of the water that runs through these rivers and support our people. When the governor was campaigning, the slogan she was using was chakula mezani, pesa mfukoni. We support groups just like Mheshimiwa Majority Leader is doing to plant trees. Then at the end of the day, the county buys these trees and gives to schools, to individuals who want to plant trees. Mheshimiwa Speaker, that was part of my campaign tool. That was one of my campaign points, that we shall support groups that want to plant trees and buy the trees from them so that they earn an income. We have started doing this. There is the Locust project, which is in my area, and part of the advice that I'm giving them is that we should start projects like tree planting. And these trees that we are talking about must not be eucalyptus or the other mzungu trees. We can plant our indigenous trees like Croton megalocarpus, which is otherwise known as Kedulu, and Mwa, Acacia, and others which can best survive in our areas. Madam Speaker, today I was speaking to a group from my area which occupy part of Kibaoni Hill as their residence, because the place is called Kivani, which is in Ngungi sublocation. Ngungi sublocation, yes. Recently there were threats that they would be moved from the hill because the hill has been There's been a lot of deforestation going on that hill. Madam Speaker, today I was advising them that first of all, the government has invested in its forests. Secondly, it has invested in the people that live there in the form of schools, roads, water, and therefore no one will take them away from their residence. But I was telling them we need to support this government in making sure that we improve tree cover, because our rains depend on our tree cover, our environment, climate, everything depends on our tree cover. So, Madam Speaker, I am in support of this initiative, and as a house, in every capacity that we hold, we need to do these climate change initiatives, not for ourselves, but for our future generations. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member.
Point of order, Madam Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Ndawa. Proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm raising on standing order number 27 on extension of time. Honorable Speaker, where that standing order number 27, sub order 2, provided that the Speaker shall interrupt business at 12:30 for the morning sitting. Aware that standing order number 27, sub order 3, provided that the House may resolve to extend its sitting time. Aware that standing order number 27, sub order 4, requires motion to extend sitting time to be moved at least 30 minutes before the time appointed of adjournment. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move a motion that this House resolves to extend its sitting time until the business in the order paper is concluded. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I call upon Honorable Keto from Metaboni to second the motion.
Honorable Kito. Thank you, Honorable Member. I now propose the question that this House resolves to extend its sitting time until the business of the day is concluded. I now put the question that this House resolves to extend its sitting time until the business of the day is concluded. As many of the opinions say ayes, as many of the contrary opinions say nay, the ayes have it. Let's proceed with the Honorable Mbula contributing. And at that point, I will ask, after Mheshimiwa Mbula we conclude this matter is done, we conclude this matter, proceed. We can have a further discussion in the afternoon because we have a similar motion in the afternoon. Thank you. Proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I am Honorable Constance Mbula Nzioki, nominated by Maendeleo Chap. First, I want to congratulate the Honorable Mercy for this statement. I think it's very wanting. And Madam Speaker, I want to say trees we have planted for a very long time. However, the source of those trees to plant is water. I want to say water is life. Even us, without water, we are not living. There is a time that national government brought trees all over the place, and we were called to pick. The chief would call you, come pick as many as you can plant. I remember I picked 400, 200 I gave to a few schools, and 200 I planted somewhere near my home. But to tell you the truth, honorable members, without water, we are doing zero work. Very, very few survived. So what we can do is to get together and see the source of water, whether, as Honorable Nzioka says, we can have those groups and give them tanks and they plant and they'll make use of them. As we speak, for those who may not have, I have a very big nursery, although water is a struggle. If you want trees, I can give you. And how come? Yes, I have them in my farm, a very big nursery, and it's a continuous thing. I started this long time when the commissioner told me to do that so that I can educate women as the chair lady of Maendeleo Yanawake, and I have done that. I give them through, but water is a big, big problem. Honorable majority, I want to say Trees are trees, and we have some things, purpose are not trees. So we cannot mix them. Those are fruits. However, they are also good to be done around the houses. So when we are doing this, we must know where to get water from, because we may be doing just a zero work. You plant 100 of them, and by the end of the day, when the rains go, you get nothing. So water is the source of everything. Bottom line, Madam Speaker, we know the source of water before we plant those trees. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Mbula. Very important point there. Water is very important when we are talking about tree planting. So we address the issue of water as well. May I now, at this point, call upon Honorable Mercy Jagi to come forward and maybe tell us whether she's satisfied with the response given by Honorable Kitetu on climate change and tree planting.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. I also want to thank honorable members for the very spirited discussion on this issue. It's very evident that it's a very important issue in our community. And Madam Speaker, I want to say before I confirm that whether I'm okay with the statement or not, I want to say that I shared this statement. I requested for this statement after reading the Forest Service report for 2022, and I was concerned that Machakos County is part of the bottom 5 in terms of forest cover in the country. We're talking about being behind Kilifi, and I'm in no way trying to say that I'm comparing siblings, but comparison can also be a learning point. Kitui has 7% forest cover. That's a county that is very well known for charcoal burning and illegal logging, but they're still way ahead of us, us at 2% and them at 7%. So it is an issue of concern. I also want to say that the time that it took to get this response is 8 months. And the response that I got was in a future tense, that they intend to do. At 8 months, we should be talking about present continuous. We should be having parameters. We should be having measuring units to what they intended to do in December up to now. So 9 months later, we should be saying we have done this and this and this. And I feel like they did not try. Also, I want to say, just as Honorable Mutie very well put it, they did not tackle the second part of the issue on climate mitigation. They really focused on tree planting, which, as most of the honorable members have elucidated, it's been done, but it's not successful. So what is the problem, and what is not making this program succeed? As someone who's lived in Machakos for the last 15 years and being in government for 10 of those years, I want to say that we also did plant trees. But I also am very honest to say that it was literally the planting, but not the sustainability. I did not see it, and I feel like this new government should be able to do that part in ensuring that these trees that they're planting now have to get to a place where they're sustainable by themselves, just as the majority leader has said. Again, Madam Speaker, a lot of the barazas and the sensitizations that are being done in the community are just 1 day or 2 day events. They come pitch tents as a department, they give wananchi trees, they plant, they take photos, and they go. Madam Speaker, there has to be a sensitization program where this department realizes that they must give the program to the citizens so that the citizens own these programs. There is no citizen who will not understand that if I have a big forest near me, I will get good rainfall, I'll get more rainfall, I'll get better air. Everything, it has to be a program that trickles down to them so that they understand the importance of this tree planting. They have to understand and own it so that when it's time, when it's drought time, and I am washing a sufuria in my kitchen and I have that extra water that is wasted, I know I can get out and collect it and pour on the trees around me because they will benefit me in the long run. It has to be a program that is owned by the community, and that is something that this department must commit to. Madam Speaker, the measures that have been given sound very good on paper, very, very good, but they're also very ambiguous. Saying that there's a collaboration with the Israeli government on issues is very vague because what does that mean? They could elucidate more and they could explain more because we want to understand, not just, we hear that county money has been spent here. We want to understand exactly what's going on. And the measures, they kind of give a non-committal, I feel like they are not very committed to this quest. The answers sound very academic, and they could do better.
Thank you. Sure.
In conclusion, these are 40 words, and if the department is committed to actually fixing the forest cover from 2.9% to 10%, they could actually use the words as a baseline for this kind of program so that these waheshimiwas also participate and be part of this program, because the waheshimiwas are very close to the people and they're able to articulate the importance of this vis-a-vis department employees who sit in offices and show up to the villages and the wards during events and the national tree planting days only. So to conclude, Madam Speaker, I feel like the Department of Water, Sanitation, Environment and Climate Change could do better with the response. And I challenge the Committee on Environment to demand for a better response, especially in terms of present continuity of this program and the forest cover program. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Jackie. Very important conclusion there. Is my mic working?
Point of concern, Honorable Speaker.
Sorry?
The seeker of the motion is not clear. She was about to say whether she is satisfied or not satisfied.
Actually, what I had picked is that she's not satisfied. Exactly. It doesn't have to be said in many words.
Yes,
it
but
can come out. Yes.
She can use just a single word and clear everything.
And it starts.
The other is capturing. Okay. And tomorrow we may start asking ourselves, was she satisfied or not satisfied? It's just a simple word. I was satisfied or I was not satisfied.
Okay, Honorable Jagi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I keep learning from my seniors. I am not satisfied with the response.
Thank you, Honorable Njagi. The Committee on Environment will go back to the drawing board, get more satisfactory response, and bring the report to the House. How much time do we give them this time? I need your guidance, clerks. The chair, tell us how much time do you want us to give you this time?
Madam Speaker,
Sorry?
before the chair, because when the chair speaks, the
Yes.
members may not have an opportunity to speak also.
Okay.
I'm a member of that committee,
Yes.
and I feel as we seek for response from the other department, from the department, we should also be able to provide solutions. So I'm requesting, as we assign the committee to go and bring or to come up with a response, I would propose that the committee sit with the department and, if possible, invite all the members in a retreat to find out solution to this matter. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Kitetu, proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I remain Frederick Kitetu Muya, MCA Kombe Ward, and also the chairperson on environment. First, I must also thank the honorable members for the brainy contribution that they have made towards the statement. That tells me great minds do not move together, but do meet at a common venue of reasoning. I think we have reasoned together, and having given ample time of just almost 2 months, I think we will come up with a better report. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Okay, so therefore, you're given 2 months to bring a better report to the House with satisfactory answers. And I'm sure you have already picked a lot of concerns from members throughout the debate, and you'll be able to fix them. Thank you. Next order.
Order number 8, motion. Approval of report of the Auditor General on Machakos County Assembly Kalon Scheme Fund for the year ended 30th June 2019.
May I at this point invite Honorable Philip Ndolo, Chairperson Public Accounts and Investment Committee, to come forward and move the motion. Proceed, Honorable Ndolo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm Philip Mtuandolo, Member of County Assembly, Mitaboni Ward, and also the Chairperson, Public Accounts and Investment Committee. Madam Speaker, allow me also to invite our visitors today and tell them, if you want to achieve your dream, you have to work hard. Approval of report of Auditor General on Machakos County Assembly Kalon Scheme Fund for the year ended 30th June 2019. Honorable Speaker, aware that Article 229, Sub-Article 5 of the Constitution provides that the Auditor General may audit and report on the accounts of any entity that is funded from public funds. Further aware that Article 229, Sub-Article 7 of the Constitution that states that audit report shall be submitted to Parliament or the relevant county assembly. Cognizant that the report of Auditor General on Machakos County Assembly Kalon Scheme Fund for the year ended 30th June 2019 was received in the Assembly in February 2022. Further aware that the report was committed to the Committee of Public Accounts and Investment pursuant to Standing Order number 185, Sub-Article 2B and C, that states that the Public Accounts and Investment Committee shall be responsible for examination of reports, accounts, and workings of the county public investment, and whether the affairs of the public investments are being managed in accordance with the sound financial or business principles and prudent commercial practices. Aware that the committee, after receipt of the report, conducted several meetings with the accounting officers of the fund, together with the officers from the Office of the Auditor General, and subsequently compiled a report. Honorable Speaker, I wish to move the motion that this House discusses and approves the report of Auditor General on Machakos County Assembly Car Loan Scheme Fund for the year 30th June 2019. Allow me to call my able Deputy Chair or Vice Chair, Honorable Ruth Wanjiru, to second.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Ruth Wanjiru, proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm Ruth Wanjiru, Special Elect Member by the Chama cha Uzalendo and the Deputy Chair of the Public Accounts and Investment Committee. I rise to support, to second, that it's prudent that we discuss this report so that as we discuss, we are going to come up with solutions of problems that bedevil us even in the current assembly concerning the same scheme. So I second. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I now propose the question that this House discusses and approves the report of Auditor General on Machakos County Assembly Car Loan Scheme Fund for the year ended 30th June 2019. Before I proceed to invite members to debate this motion, I want to invite the mover of the motion to proceed and highlight the said report. Proceed, Honorable Ndolo.
Thank you again, Madam Speaker. Report of the Auditor General on Machakos County.
Maybe we can have guidance. Which way do you want? You can have executive summary. And
I will have some selected parts of the report.
Yeah.
And also read the queries and observations of the committee.
I'm saying that you can have the executive summary.
Yeah.
Perhaps go to where?
I go to background information.
To the background information?
Yes. Then we go to queries.
Queries.
Then observation.
It's like reading the entire.
No.
The entire. Then proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Executive summary. The audit report on financial statement of County Assembly of Machakos Housing Scheme Fund for the year ended 20th June 2019 was received in the Assembly in February 2022. Pursuant to Article 229, Sub-Article 7 of the Constitution. On receipt of the audit report, it was committed to Public Accounts and Investment Committee pursuant to Standing Order number 185, Sub-Article 2, B and C. And the report is an advance opinion. The Committee on Public Accounts, while exercising its mandate as provided in the Standing Order 185, invited the accounting officer and conducted interrogation on the audit report on 23rd February 2023, and this is pursuant to the provisions of Article 226, Sub-Article 2 of the Constitution. Honorable Speaker, the key queries raised by the auditor included misrepresentation of financial statements, inaccuracy in the trial balance, inconsistency in the final statements, and explain transfer to reserve and default account, issue with administrative expenses, and matters of unlawfulness in the establishment of assembly funds. The committee, after scrutinizing the queries and response, provided was able to draw key observations, such as failure to comply with the provision of Section 9 of Public Audit Act 2015, and the clause of information and provisions of right content in financial statement, disregarding of auditors' advisory in both the management letter and draft report, double security of the loans, among other observations. In the report, several recommendations were made to address the above observation, such strict adherence to the provisions of Section 9 of the Public Audit Act 2015, rechecking of financial statements to avoid errors and inaccuracies, and amendments of the MOU with SBM Bank, among other recommendations. Background information basis for the advance opinion. The auditor report on financial statements of County Assembly of Machakos Kalon Scheme Fund for the year ended 30th June 2019 was received in the Assembly in February 2022, pursuant to Article 229, Sub-Article 7 of the Constitution, that states that the audit report shall be submitted to Parliament or the relevant County Assembly. It is good to note that while observing the constitutional requirement, these reports have been received in the Assembly latest by end of January 2020. Hence, the report was late by 2 years. This is contravention of Section 48, sub 1 of the Public Audit Act 2015, that requires the Auditor General to audit and report on accounts audited 6 months after the end of fiscal year in question. 5. Further, it is important, however, to note that 2022 was a year of government transition, and political parties were busy undertaking campaigns until the general election time, which was done in August 2022. This is therefore to confirm that the report could not be processed, since the Assembly was still in the process of constituting committees during the second quarter of the financial year 2021 to 2022. This explains well why the report was acted upon by the committee during the year of receipts. On receipts of the audit report, it was committed to Public Accounts and the Investment Committee pursuant to Standing Order number 185, Sub-Article 2B and C, and the report is an advance opinion. This means the fiscal statements do not present fairly in all materials aspect the financial position of County Assembly of Machakos for the year ended 30th June 2019, and its performance, it is cash standard and do not comply with the Public Finance Management Act 2012 and the County Government Act 2012. 7. Further, the Committee on Public Accounts, while exercising its mandate as provided in the Standing Order 185, invited the accounting officers and conducted interrogations on the audit report 2023 February to 2023. This is per the provisions of Act 226 sub 2 of the Constitution, that provides that accounting officer of the county public entity is accountable to the County Assembly for its financial management. Okay. Basis of advance opinion. Inconsistency in financial statement presentation. Then we go to 4.2, inaccuracy in financial statement. These are queries. Then we move to 4.3, unsupported bank balances. (4.4) Now, disclosure of loan advanced. 4.5, unsupported revolving fund. 4.6, fund administrative expenses. 4.7, merger of Machakos Assembly Car Loan and Mortgage Scheme Fund. The Assembly has now merged the two, the loan and mortgage. Allow me, Madam Speaker, to read the Committee General Observations. And these are the committee observations. In addition to specific observations outlined under every query, the committee makes the following general observations. 1, failure to comply with the provision of Section 9 of Public Audit Act 2015 on disclosure of information, reports, and books to auditors. This was noted from the queries on unsupported bank balances, inaccuracies in the statement, on disclosure of the loan, advanced and supported revolving fund. 2, the matter on inaccuracies in financial statement came out clearly, specifically on interest on incomes, other incomes, administrative expenses, and cash equivalents. This was one of the key contributors to the advance opinion of the report, implying that the financial statements were not keenly rechecked after preparation. 3, the MOU signed with Chase Bank and SBM indicates that the Assembly deposited seed capital of Kenya shilling 120 million, which is held in land by the bank. The bank lends its own money and charges interest at 3% administration fee, with a requirement of security of payslips or title deeds, when in the actual sense, the money held in lien is the security. Therefore, this amounts double security. Committee General Recommendations. Honorable Speaker, based on the specific observation under every query and general observation stated up here, this committee recommends as follows. 1, pursuant to Section 9(1)(e) of the Public Audit Account 2015, the County Assembly should, for the purpose of future reports, avail to the auditors all information, records, books at the time they are in the Assembly for the audit exercise to avoid unnecessary issues from appearing as audit queries. 2, pursuant to Section 47, Sub 2 of the Public Audit Act 2015, the financial statements prepared by the Assembly should contain the right content. This is because the queries on inconsistency and inaccuracy in financial statement introduced and required information in the statement that were presented to the auditors. 3, the Assembly should review the MOU currently under use on specific matters relating to double security of the loan, bank lending its own money and holding Kenya shilling 120 million and a lien account as security. 4, pursuant to section 53 sub 1 of Public Audit Acts 2015, the accounting officer should within 3 months after approval of this report take the relevant steps to implement the recommendation in the report or give an explanation in writing as to why the report is not implemented. Madam Speaker, conclusion and acknowledgement. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Article 229, sub 5 of the Constitution and Section 48 of Public Audit Act 2015, the Office of the Auditor General has been mandated to audit any entity that uses public funds. On the other hand, Article 229 gives the Auditor General
Point of information, Madam Speaker.
Okay. Point of information taken.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As they say, while solving one problem, you are likely to cause another problem. The report which is being read by our most able chair is on the County Assembly. But what has been posted in our gadgets is Maboko Water Company. So these are two different reports. So I don't know whether we are going to continue reading a report that we not have in our nini. Yes.
Let me understand that. Perhaps I have not picked your point.
Yes, Honorable Speaker, the report which is being presented by Chair Park,
yes,
is on County Assembly loan scheme.
Yes.
But what has been posted in our gadgets here,
okay,
what we have is different. It is Maboko Water Company. So kindly make a determination whether we are going to proceed or we are going to do what.
All this while we have been reading a report that you don't have members. Very interesting. Honorable members, thank you for bringing that to light, that you actually have the wrong information in your gadgets. Therefore, we must make a decision. Perhaps we get the right document in place, then come back in the afternoon and proceed with our debate. Is that in order?
Madam Speaker, before we say yes or no, Honorable Speaker, the House Business Committee sat yesterday and we allocated the business for morning and afternoon. So if we say we debate this in the afternoon, it means now the business slotted for the afternoon will disappear. So I would request, Honorable Speaker, you direct that this matter go back to the House Business Committee for rebarroting so that we don't do away with the other report. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Madam Speaker, point of I would want to seek some information. Is it in order that the information could be provided in the afternoon, since in the afternoon we have very light business, instead of the same going to the House Business Committee, where we have tried to, you know, arrange things. So taking it back to the House Business Committee is creating more backlog. So I would wish that we proceed in the afternoon and also finish the business.